Hi everybody. This is the video in which I'm going to teach you the Kincaid Vocalise, the scale pattern that I want you to learn for the remainder of this semester, 2020. This pattern is called the Kincaid Vocalise or the Kincaid scale warm-up, and it's named after a famous flutist, William Kincaid, who was a great flute teacher and principal flutist of the Philadelphia Orchestra. There's a book about William Kincaid. It's called Kincaidiana by John Krell, and it's all about Kincaid's teaching. And I looked through this today. It's been a while since I read it and did not find this specific exercise and any of the illustrations. It may be described in here somewhere. I'm not certain, but I think it hasn't been notated very much. So this is a beautiful warm-up scale pattern based on the major scale and a dominant seventh chord, and it cycles through the circle of fifths. You're going to do it 12 times in all keys, and I'm going to teach it to you in a few easy keys today so that you can get started, and I do want you to memorize this pattern. So I'm going to play it just a little bit and show you what it sounds like, so just have a listen here, and then I'll explain what the pattern is and how to practice it. So I'm starting on C. So I just played this pattern in 3 keys. I started on C, and then I did it in F, and then I did it in B flat, and this cycles very nicely around the circle of fifths for you. And I'm going to tell you what this pattern is, and then I'm going to show you the music. So what you're going to do is go up your major scale. So we're going to think in C today. You're going to go up a C major scale for 2 octaves. But you may have heard we're going to insert a note. The scale sounds a little interesting up at the very top. The note we're going to insert is a flat 7th. It's your a half step below your leading tone. So the major scale ends up sounding chromatic at the top from the 6th scale degree, or the note La, which in C major is A. You're hearing chromatic tones A, B flat, B, and C. So listen here. I'm going to play a C major scale, just a normal C major scale without the added note. And what I want you to do is add a flat 7. That note would be B flat in the key of C. So I'm not taking away the B natural. I'm just inserting a B flat between the A and the B. Sounds like this. Okay, so I've played all the notes in C major, plus I've added a B flat to the top. It gives a beautiful stretching or elongation at the top of the scale with this chromatic movement at the top. Once I land on the tonic on top, I'm going to come down a dominant 7th chord. And that is basically your major arpeggio, C major arpeggio, plus this note again, which is the flat 7, which is a B flat. So I'm that essentially becomes a dominant 7th, which takes us to the next key. So in the key of C, I'm on my C up top. I'm going to come down the C major arpeggio, and you know those notes would be C, G, E, C. I'll just do that without the inserted note. Right? But I'm going to put the B flat in there as well. I'm going to insert that note so that there's 4 notes here, 4 pitches in the descending arpeggio. Isn't that beautiful? And that is the C7 chord, which resolves to F. Now, you may want to go all the way down to tonic when you practice this, but what I do is resolve to the next key right before you would play the C tonic. So I do this. Instead of I resolve up, and I've landed on F nicely to go to the next key. Now, I'm going to make myself smaller here and show you the music. This is going to make it easier for you to see. I've entered this pattern into MuseScore here. And if you take a look, you can see I've written this out in 16ths. You guys are going to want to go slowly and carefully. You're going to play it in eighth notes at a moderate tempo. You're going to make some mistakes. That's okay. And get to know this pattern. It will get easier and easier the more days you do it. So here you see ascending in the C major scale, and we always slur this exercise. It's for beauty of tone, moving through the registers, evenness of fingers. So going up the C major scale, and you see there's this added B flat right here, second octave, continuing up the C major scale, and we have an added B flat right there. That's your flat 7 that's added in the scale, and the chromatic notes are right here at the end of the scale. And then we come down the dominant 7th chord. This is a C major arpeggio with the addition of a flat 7, and that makes it a C7 chord, which wants to resolve to F. So you see that it comes down the C7 chord, but instead of playing a low C here at the end, which you could do, I just immediately bend up to F from the leading tone E. So let me play this first line for you. Okay, now if it helps you to play the tonic here, what you would do is put a tonic right here. In place of this final F, you'd play the C first. You could do this. I just played low C, and then you go up to F, which is your next key. If you want to do that to help you learn the first couple of days, or if you find yourself accidentally going down to that tonic bottom note, that's okay, no big deal. But it works out very nicely in 2/4 here, moderate 16th notes if we just resolve immediately to the next key. Okay, and you see that I have written out F major for you as well. What you need to figure out as you go through the keys is, what is my flat 7? And your flat 7 in the key of F major is this E flat right here. It's a half step below the leading tone. So your little chromatic movement is D, E flat, E. So this is an F major scale with an inserted E flat. And then you also put that inserted flat 7, the E flat, down the arpeggio. The F arpeggio with the flat 7 added becomes an F dominant 7th chord resolving to B flat. And that one sounds like this. Okay, so let's keep going through keys. What I've done here is draw your starting notes and your sort of key arrival notes, but you've got to figure out what your flat 7 is and what you do. And if you make a mistake, that's okay. Here's B flat. And here, with my resolution, I've ended up on middle E flat at the top of the treble clef staff. And what I do is just drop an octave, because you always want to start your 2-octave scale on a low tonic that's comfortable. So I'm dropping my E flat down to the lower register. I added a D flats to that E flat major scale, and that is what helps me make the dominant 7th chord here and resolve to A flat. I've landed on A flat, and I'll do one more for you. And again, I've landed on a D flat at the top of the staff. And what you'll want to do is drop down to your low D flat to begin the next scale. Every 2 or 3 scales, as you go around the circle of fifths, you're going to land on a D or an E, 4th line or 4th space, top of the treble clef staff. It's the notes D flat, D, E flat, and E. When you land on those, you want to drop an octave before you start the next scale. And that's pretty easy to figure out. I did find one other place on the internet where the Kincaid warm-up is notated, and this is a simpler 1-octave version. So I'll just put this here. I want you guys playing this 2 octaves, but if it helps you the first day or two to take a look at this one and play from it, you could pause the screen and play from this. This will help you figure out what that flat 7 is. And it's a nice little warm-up that stays in the low register, a simpler version. I'll just play a few lines of this. so that's just a simpler 1-octave version that's a little different in the resolution at the end because it's only within 1 octave, but it's the same basic exercise. Okay, so I would like you guys to work on this this week, and I'd like you to start with the first 3 or 4 keys, going to about B flat major, maybe E flat major. And I want to talk to all of you about this in your lessons and give it a try. It's a beautiful warm-up that I think you will enjoy. Have fun with that, and I look forward to seeing all of you soon. Bye.